The Off-Road Zone is brought to you by CF Moto Canada. We're all in. Are you? Honda. Yamaha. Choco.
Hi, I'm Kevin Cullen, the Motorhead Traveler, and welcome to a special edition of the Off-Road Zone, CF Moto Style.
This week, weather now permitting, we're in for a treat. It's time to explore another side of the Rockies and what the region of Invermere, British Columbia has to offer. Also, this particular ride is going to sharpen our ATV driving skills.
Well, you know, I was drawing from my experience of some of the past adventures we had done here at Toby Creek Adventures, because I know in the off-road zone you really want to show the gamut, as it were, of off-road experiences that people can have. So we went from the 3-hour tour to the incredible hardcore, as hard as you can basically ride an ATV or side-by-side tour on the other side of this ridge here into the valley. I wanted to share that with you for several reasons. Number one, when I did this trip a number of years ago for the first time, and we actually camped out overnight with the grizzly bears and all the animals out there, it really stood in my mind as not only a great place with lots of really difficult terrain to ride in, because I love technical riding, and I know a lot of you at home watching also love technical riding, but also to get a chance to get out in a place where there's nobody. When you get to the end of that canyon, and to that beautiful lake there, you're the only people. There may be a few animals, some bears and some moose or some deer, but really that's all you're gonna see and hear out there. So a lot of folks that, especially with the majority of folks living in city, that truly never do get to either hear or not hear quiet, that experience of hardcore riding, incredible views as the sun and clouds come in and out and light the valley in all these different beautiful hues, and every direction you look, it looks a little bit different. To me, I live for days like this. This is what I was born to do. Hardcore, off-road, backcountry adventures. If you feel you're the same type of person, make sure you come here to Toby Creek, watch the rest of this show, and see one of the best off-road experiences on the entire planet.
Once you've gotten to Invermere, there are many places to stay. One of them is the Copper Point Resort, who will be happy to welcome you and your whole family for an amazing stay. Here's Charmaine Richter to tell us about it.
Well, it's beautiful. Look at where we are. We're in the middle of the Columbia Valley, Invermere, British Columbia. We've got the Purcell Mountains on one side, the Rocky Mountains on the other. We're the base camp to a multitude of activities year-round. All right, we're 20 minutes, you know, to like the Toby Creek Adventures where you were just at. So we're 20 minutes to there. We're 20 minutes to Panorama Ski Hill. We're 5 minutes to Invermere Lake. We're close. We've got 2 golf courses right on site. We have couples, we have families, we have people that, again, want to just relax and get away from the city, but we also have your adventure enthusiasts that would love to go up to Toby Creek. All of the rooms at Copper Point Resort, we have 177 mixture of hotel style to condo style. So we can do standard hotel rooms, which, you know, would sleep a couple, 1 or 2 people, and we can go up to 2-bedroom lofts, which can sleep up to 8 people. We have 2 spas, 2 pools, indoor and outdoor, and new for this winter, our outdoor pool is going to be kept open for the winter, granted that the weather doesn't go below -15, but then who wants to be outside swimming? And we have 2 outdoor hot tubs, 2 indoor hot tubs, and our big hit for the past couple of years has been our poolside bar, the Copper Cabana. No other resort in Western Canada has a poolside bar like we do. The way our rooms are set up, again, with our suites, we can hold, you know, families, you know, up to 3-4 children can all stay in one suite, and because they all come with kitchens, great if for a budget-conscious family.
So we're gonna do our glacier trip. The scenery is, we're gonna climb to the top of the Paradise Ridge, and we're gonna drop down from the Paradise Ridge into Boulder Creek, and that's gonna be an 8,000 foot pass. And on good weather in the summertime, we actually climb up another 1,000 feet, up to 9,000 feet right to the top of the mountain. The scenery that we're gonna be looking at is a lot of creeks. We're going to follow the river all the way up to the back end. There's some really nice beaver ponds up there. We have a ton of avalanche slides, which are home to all the different animals. I'm hoping we're going to see some bears and, if not grizzlies and moose today, but we'll see.
Coming up, we take one of the folks at CF Moto out of his office for the ride of a lifetime. We now join Jeffrey Frieda from CF Moto, who gladly decided to experience the Rockies for himself while at the commands of one of the vehicles he knows so intimately.
Oh, the view just brings out the mountain boy in me. It's terrific. It has been absolutely fantastic. The weather has been a mixture of winter wonderland on Monday, and the last couple days has been fantastic with sun and just a great outdoor experience. Coming up here the first day, well, of course, traveling in from Calgary, and our adventure all packed in, traveling together was terrific, and we got to know each other a little bit. I've been working with Toby Creek Adventures with trying out our machines all summer. So I've been very well connected with them and working with them at their location here in Invermere. You know, anybody could do this. You need to have, I call it be fearless, because each day is different, and some people are maybe intimidated by not knowing what they're going to do the next day. But it's like anything, if you understand who you're working with and what your focus is, your objective, then it all comes together. The trip through the valley was terrific. It was through a totally different trail, and lots of, I call it a very sporty ride, where there are lots of rocks and different areas that you really have to be careful throughout the trail. And overall, I mean, the trip was over 90 kilometers, and we were, going through rock slides and rivers, small rivers. It was just incredible, just incredible.
So my job is running the company, and I've been doing it for 20 years. My background is I'm a licensed mechanic for about 25 years. We have had a pile of equipment during that time frame, and during that time frame we got a knack of seeing some good equipment. We see what works and what doesn't work, and we see the different values and price points over the years, that's for sure. We're always getting ready for the next season, improving, adding product, and changing things, improving our facilities, upkeep and maintenance on the equipment and that. So yeah, it's a full-time job. Yeah, we use heavy equipment to keep the trails in order and upkept. There's snow groomers for the snowcats for the wintertime, quads with tracks on them with drags behind them to smooth them out. Summertime we have to use hose and loaders and dozers and that. Just depends on what goes on in the spring runoff and that to keep these trails open. There's every year is different, that's for sure. I like building trips. I like the adventure part of it. I like getting out there and designing a new tour, like this glacier trip that we went on the other day. That there is just blows my mind with the terrain and the different features and seeing how excited you and guests and everybody get out of it. A lot of research, a lot of scouting, getting it over, or risk management, figuring out how to do it safely and do it right, and then figuring out what type of equipment that we're going to need to run and what equipment we'll use in the future.
When we come back, we'll talk a little more technical. Stay tuned.
Yeah, the C-Force 500 is just a terrific all-around ATV. It's comfortable, it's got tons of power. It's a 500 HO engine, very responsive, soaks up the bumps and good on fuel. It's just a great experience all around. I love that machine. The power steering is very nice to have as well. Power steering, the full features of the machine with the backrest, high intensity headlights, turn signals. I mean, this machine in some countries, in some areas, is legal to drive on the road. It's nice to have power steering on a unit on these kind of conditions. And just overall, I mean, it just adds that extra little degree of comfort and maneuverability. I wouldn't say that it's a must, but it's definitely a preference for myself. my experience this week, you know, I've been working, as I said, with Toby Creek all summer with the vehicles, but this is my first time really doing a full tour. And with the winter conditions and going through the backcountry, a little intimidating at first, but you know, I've been working with some seasoned people and watching what they're doing and following in their footsteps. I became comfortable along the way, and it's been a great experience. I've loved every minute of it. This was my, you know, my first adventure with riding with Toby Creek Adventures, and you know, again, I can't say enough about the experience. Anybody that can ride and handle a, you know, a small to medium-sized ATV or side-by-side, and they give you some instruction before you take the machines out, and they're professional. They know exactly you know, what's going on. They're in full control all the time. They have safety procedures that you know, you just need to follow their direction and enjoy what God has provided in that day. It's just terrific.
After the break, we get into the big stuff on our UTV build. Stay with us. Today, we're going to tackle the heart of the vehicle, the transmission. We're going to take out the original pulley system and replace it with a CVTech pulley system. We're very happy that Gaetan from CF Moto is here to help us. Otherwise, it would have taken a lot longer to get through this modification. Our producer, Ken McDonald, being a mechanic by trade, understands when we're talking about a clutch pulley. But he's not an expert. He understands the concept about pulleys that open and close, but when we kick it up a notch and start talking about wet clutch, dry clutch, gram, nylon, and so on, he gets a little lost. So we're going to talk to David from CVTech, who's an expert when it comes to clutch pulleys. So for instance, the original pulley manufactured in China is an acceptable product. It's just a very heavy product, especially in terms of momentum. Weight is one thing that affects the rotation momentum. Just by looking at the thickness, as we see here, you can tell it's a heavy product. The part we can't see is the centrifugal clutch within the engine, which is immersed in oil. That is just as heavy as the rest of the clutch. So this is CVTech's product, and there are a few factors which make it adjustable. But two are really the most important in terms of adjustability. There's the flywheel and the spring. There are several springs available with different load levels. The spring controls the speed of engagement, at which RPM the clutch itself will be activated. This will help to compensate if you want your motor speed to increase along with the vehicle or stay fixed. While we're changing this clutch out from one from CVTech, we realized that the bearing wasn't perfect. It's far from gone, but we already have all the parts here with us, and the motor's already removed, so there's no point in leaving it until next time. We'll change it right now. All it takes is an additional 15 minutes. It was an absolute pleasure to have the Motorhead Traveler as a special host for the last 2 episodes. Let's check back in with him for today's final words.
You know, I'd really like to thank everyone at the Off-Road Zone by honoring me and allowing me to share some of the Motorhead Traveler's journeys with the Off-Road Zone's audience. It's just been such a pleasure. Thank you for having me, and maybe in the future we might see you once again.
The Off-Road Zone was brought to you by CF Moto Canada. We're all in. Are you? Honda. Yamaha. Chaco. I'm Mark Gauguin, hoping to see you back here next week for another adventure in the Off-Road Zone.